Yeah. Let's try this. This might work. I'm so sorry, you guys. This little whole setup thing is so annoying. One second, sorry. Like, I basically have to watch this thing, right? I have to watch my phone. There we go. Turn down.
Let's try this.
Wait, I'll turn
this. This might work. I'm so sorry, you guys. This little whole setup thing is so annoying.
Woohoo, but I fixed it. Oh my gosh, without freaking out for once. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for being so patient, so understanding as well. I know sometimes I'm not
like, I basically have to watch this thing, right?
I have a lot of technical issues still, but at least I try. Like, I'm trying really as hard as I can to kind of give you guys just like good information and good content and everything. And I just really appreciate you guys hanging in there with me, because this has not been an easy freaking process whatsoever. Everything I've had to learn pretty much everything from scratch. I make tons of mistakes still. Like, I don't even know if I do something's correct, but I just kind of trust my instincts and everything. So I'm like I'm just happy to be able to, you know, grateful to be able to bring you guys something. Sorry, I'm just going to get things set aside. I was listening to music, but I want to make sure that my audio is working properly. Yeah, it is. Perfect. Yay. Okay, you guys, if you guys hear a little bit of background music, let me know if it's too loud. Anyway, so my goodness, I have so much little issues there. So I have to be able to see the comments, and the only way I can see the comments is if I open my phone. Okay. Anyways, thank you again for holding off or hanging in there, waiting for me to kind of get ready. This is not an easy process for me, so as I said, I really appreciate you guys like just being patient with me, because I've had to learn basically like everything from scratch, everything from the ground up. Has been very difficult. Like, all the technical stuff, you know, creating this background that you guys see, like not this one, but like even this one, like, yeah, it's been very, very difficult, because to me, this is how much I care about what it is that I do, and how much it means to me to be able to do this for you guys at home. So I just want you to know that I do appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody who listens and watches and everything like that. It means so much to me. Let's just see here. So again, like, my name is iampimohse. A lot of people still know me by like my birth name, which is Shauna. Shauna Uchu, but I actually use my traditional given name, which is Pimose now. So a lot of like my old coworkers, I guess, will know me by like Pimose, because that's the name that I chose to use while I was at work. I no longer use Shauna, because I just don't feel like that really reflects the person that I am. I have like, you know, a connection to it, but it's not, I don't find like that, like I don't connect to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not who I am. So I choose to use Pimose. And that's why my hip hop name is iampimohse as well. So if you guys are ever wondering why that is, it's because, you know, when you're making this transition with your name, you have a lot of people who don't take it seriously sometimes, because it's very hard to change your name. You know what I mean? Like, it's very hard to change your name when somebody knows you as one name. It's hard for them to accept you as another name, because, yeah. So I decided to choose, like, I decided my stage name to be iampimohse. Um, so people understand like how hard that how hard that is been for me to be able to do it. And yeah, and I know how hard it is for other people as well, when they want to change their name or whatnot, or if they ever decide to do that. It's a very tough process, and so I chose a stage name that will encourage it, but also support people as well. So I do have my messages on here, so I might catch your guys's comment a little bit late, I think, like, or not necessarily in real time, but I'm going to try and answer your guys' questions along the way. If you guys have anything, that's if you want to interact or whatever. So, again, welcome to Healing Through Hip Hop podcast, which normally is supposed to air 9 to 10 p.m., but I decided to go a little bit later today. I really don't like rushing things. I really don't like I really like to make sure things are like, kind of have a good flow, that I'm in a good space, that, like, yeah, I feel good and everything. So I just kind of pushed it back a little bit. And I know that I need to be able to allow myself to do that, because I'm really like rigid sometimes. Like, I'm really like, okay, this time, it has to be this way, right? When when I don't allow myself just to let things be naturally, the video is gonna come out. You guys are gonna be able to watch it, and yeah, have a good time. So I guess tonight, what this whole episode is about, and I have to apologize before I jump right into everything, is that that I'm not going to have a guest every single episode, because I'm the type of person who likes to bring people who want to be a part of it naturally, and not, I have to, like, I really don't like scouting for people, to be honest. If somebody wants to be or take part on this podcast and sees a value in it, then great. I'll be happy to, bring you on or whatnot. But I really don't like, I find it very unnatural. That's how I find it. I don't like doing it. I don't. But I love being able to host people when they ask. So don't get that wrong. I really do. So if there's any artists out there that have anything that they want to showcase, feel free to hit me up. Jump on my podcast. I'll be happy to host, and help showcase your work or whatnot. But as we move forward, when I first kind of like started this podcast, I started it because there was a huge disconnection between hip hop and Indigenous culture. Even though it was out there, I find like there's still a lot of stigmatization from within our community, but also outside of our community as well, the greater community, I guess you can say. And so I decided to do this Healing Through Hip Hop podcast, because there's a lot of myths when it comes to, our misinformation as well, when it comes to like mental health and wellness. The approach even is really, really, really like, I'm not, you could tell, like, I'm not a huge fan of Sigmund Freud's, the psychoanalytic theory, or anything like, person has to come in, you sit on a couch or anything. No way. Like, that's not my approach. When I work with individuals, especially those who are suffering with like mental illnesses, like, I'm like, let's go for a walk. Let's go talk. Let's do stuff that, let me come to your house. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I do with my practice. When I was like working out in the community, I never really had that opportunity to be able to do that. Like, it was always like, you come to us type thing. Like, it was so formal. So for me, I wanted to really move away from that and make it more like person-centered, right? Like, counseling more person-centered, because a lot of people in our community have this idea about counseling that that isn't that could be really like, it can really get in the way of their healing, especially when it feels so formal. Like for Indigenous people, like, I don't know, because this is for Indigenous people who are, especially within my community, that's what I should say, who live below like the poverty threshold and everything like that. Like there's a lot of distrust for very, I guess, like um authoritative approaches. That's really what it is. And I know a lot of people would be turned, like, are turned off by that approach. That's like an old school way of doing things. And as an Indigenous mental health professional, I really want to step away from that as much as possible, because if it worked, it would have been working. That's how I see that approach. It's not to say that I don't have professional boundaries. I definitely do. Um, I have, a whole application they have to sign. You know what I mean? Like I have a process. Um, However, like there's certain things that I know with my counseling business doesn't have to look the same way as everything else. And if I really want to impact people, if I really want to help people, I'm going to be authentic. You know what I mean? Like those people are going to be connected to me because they know that I'm genuine. They know that I'm authentic. Like I'm not trying to be something that I'm not trying to be. And anything that I am, you're going to see it, like both on camera, and you're going to see it, on my Facebook, and you're going to see me have moments as well. And another thing about mental health and wellness, and especially being an Indigenous mental health professional, if I want to encourage people, if I really want to be able to help in the ways that I want to help and make change in the ways that I want to make change, I have to allow myself to be authentic. I really do. If I want people to believe in healing, I have to be authentic, and I have to be real, and I have to be honest with my own self. You know what I mean? Like, and the people that I want to help, they're not the people, like, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? Like, they're not the people who, that are doing the 9 to 5s. Those aren't, you know what I mean? Like, they're not. And I'll be straight up about it. Like, great, I'm glad that you find value in my work, and I'm glad that you find value in judging how I do things or whatever, but you're not the one that I'm trying to connect with. And that's the honest to God truth. The people that I'm trying to connect with are the people that live in my community. In North Central, the people that grew up with me, the people that grew up with me, the people that I was out there with, you know what I mean? Those are the ones that I'm trying to help. Or people like them, in other communities. I want to give them hope. There was this one girl, and I'll tell you a brief story. There's this one girl, beautiful, but she was she was tough. Like, this girl was tough as nails, I won't say her name, because she's now passed on. Yeah, she passed on, but she was a beautiful spirit. Like, she was so solid, hey, and she did not freaking like me at all. There's like, she fucking, she did not like me, and nothing that I did as a worker, and I wasn't treating her any type of way. I wasn't a bitch or anything, but like, she just did not like me, right? Because she didn't feel like I was being real or authentic, right? And after a few years, like, I ended up moving on to a different job or whatever and whatnot, but I ended up bumping into her again. And this time it was just about 2 months before she actually passed away. And she was like, and like, she's tough as nails. Like, she was like, she just got out of the pen, and, and to kind of like get to her, like, she was just so like, closed off. But, and I continued to help in the community here, there, everywhere. We kind of see each other around, and, it was always like, oh, there's Shauna, blah blah blah, and but the last time I saw her, she was actually in a in a shelter, yeah. And at that time, I was volunteering over there for Christmas, in the shelter, right? And she gave me this rock, and she gives me this rock, and it had hope on it, and she goes, take this rock, and she goes, don't let anyone stop you. You're our hope, she said, right? Ugh. And 2 months later, she passed away from her addiction. Oh gosh. I'm sorry, but like, those are the people that I'm trying to help. I appreciate you guys really taking interest in, you know, my work, those 9 to 5ers, those stable people, they have, a few issues here and there. I appreciate that you do. But I'm gonna be straight up. I'm not trying, you're not my target audience. You're not the people that that I want to come for. You're not the people that I really want to impact. The people that I want to impact are the ones just getting out of the pen, are the ones that are in the streets, are the ones that are, you know, who really don't believe in healing. Those are the ones that I'm trying to impact with what I'm trying to do. So if you're not impressed with what I'm doing, I'm going to be straight up. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. Because at the end of the day, you are not my target. My target are the ones that are judging me if I'm being authentic or not. And I'll tell you straight up. I'll tell you straight up, like straight the fuck up. They know when you're being disingenuous. They know when you're not being real. And that's a really tough thing. Like, they could see through the bullshit. I don't care how much drugs you've done. I don't care how many times you've been to the pen, how long you've been out in those streets. You know when someone is disingenuous. And that's the real truth. And I have to remind myself of that. When I first started this, I was so scared. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was terrified. And it was because I felt those eyes on the other side of the screen, right? I felt the judgment. I felt the critique. I felt the haters and the narcissists and the people who blow up my Facebook, or send me messages. You had this on, like passing judgment on me. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, who are you? What are you doing on your end? Like, what are you really doing on your end to try and make change? You know what I mean? To give our people hope, the ones who are really out in those streets. What are you really doing? Because I know what it was like to come from that place. A lot of people don't know this, and I'll tell people exactly where I came from. I come from like dirt and nothing. I was a 13-year-old prostitute, in these streets. Nobody taking care of me. You know what I mean? In and out of jail. A lot of people don't realize, because I have this shit, that I've never been through shit. They make judgment like I haven't fucking been in those streets. And then it's like, I have to remind you, I've been in those streets. You know what I mean? Like, that's a real fucking part of me. And as a light worker, you know what I mean? Because I know, you know, a lot of people, and a lot of those haters who watch this, who judge me, who say you didn't do this right, or look at you had this, or, you know, I even get fucked up posts. Like, seriously, there was one, it kind of made me laugh. They're starting to make me laugh, to be honest, because like there's somebody who sent me a picture of my I don't know, like my piercing, right? And they're like, oh, look at blah blah blah, like what the fuck is that, blah blah. Because my granddaughter, like I have a granddaughter that I sleep with, and sometimes she hits it, right? Or she'll pull on it, like she's 2 years old. And I don't give a fuck. Like, to me, I'm like, whatever. You know, keep moving forward, blah, 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 blah. I really don't care necessarily so much on what I look like on camera. I try to fucking, you know, be okay with it, but like, you know, they want me to feel that way. They want me to feel insecure. They want me to feel like these narcissists. That's where we're going anyways. Like, these narcissists want me to quit. A lot of them really do not want to see this at all. They don't want to see an Indigenous woman, first of all, a proud, confident, intelligent, you know, Indigenous woman doing shit all for themselves. Like, they don't. And especially, you know, when you're actually working, or I have to kind of go back a little bit. Because I need you guys to understand what is a narcissist, right? A narcissist is a fucking lying piece of shit, to be honest. That's what I think of them, to be honest, because they don't even see their shit. And I'll say it straight up, because as a light worker, I've been in my community for a long time, trying to rebuild my life, trying to, you know, put things together, and, you know, and make change and all this stuff. And I've been trying to do for like since I was 18 years old. In fact, there's newspaper articles that go back all the way back there, how much work I've done and put into my community. And on top of trying to heal at the same time, you know what I mean? So it hasn't been a perfect journey by any means. But like, I have always been or had a narcissist around me. As a light worker, for as long as I've worked in the community, narcissists are drawn to me. It's just what it is. And so it could be very like confusing. It could be very confusing. It could be very like what do you call it? Like, that could be a very confusing experience if you don't understand what it is. Because I didn't even realize I had a lot of narcissists around me as a light worker. I really didn't. And they're always attracted to me. And they're energy stealers, or I call them energy vampires, to be honest, because that's really what they are for light workers. And they do exactly as what they're intended to do, and that is to confuse you into believing that you are not a light worker, that your work that you're doing has no value, that you have no value, and they'll do it in ways using like manipulation, lying, gossip, lateral violence, stuff like that. And the thing with that is as a light worker, they're so good at what they do because they'll actually make you believe that you are a narcissist too. As a light worker, you may even, you know, believe that you are a narcissist too. And the reason for that is, and that's just how it's set up, right? That's really truly how it's set up, because narcissists want to look like they're freaking light workers. That's the reason why. So to you light workers who are actually really trying to do something and make change, and they want to copy you. They want to copy you. They want to manipulate you into believing that the work that you're doing has no value, that you don't have a voice. They don't want you to have a voice. You know what I mean? They won't support anything that you're doing. They're jealous, very jealous deep down inside, very hurt individuals. They're very, very, very hurt individuals. And I've dealt with them a lot. And I've dealt with them a lot, like I said, all my life. And I'm in the process of still healing from the narcissistic attacks, because in my community, like especially in my community, we have a lot of people who are healing from trauma, right? Like traumatic experiences, very traumatic experiences. Sorry, I keep on picking up on different stuff, but I've had to heal from my own experiences as well, right? And in my healing journey, I had to be able to identify, and that was that was a very hard part, was being able to identify who was genuinely there to help me, right? Or wanted to be in my life, or who was, disingenuous. And that was super, super hard for me, because I didn't even realize that I was a light worker, because being surrounded by narcissists, I took on whatever they called me, right? So if I was this or that, I took it on. I absorbed it, right? I must be like this, I really must be, bitch, maybe I just talk too much, or maybe I'm just this and that and this and that. You know what I mean? It's all of these labels all the time about about me, right? And I absorbed them, and then I took them on as mine. But I didn't really realize that I had a greater purpose in all of this. I didn't realize that. Not until I was completely had nothing and zero, right? I didn't realize that I was actually a light worker, that I was actually here to help, and that what they said about me was completely wrong. And you guys have seen me kind of go through this online, actually, in the past little while. You guys have actually seen me fight my way from a lot of that shit. Find my way out of it. And that was hard for me to do so publicly, because I'm used to doing that about social issues. I'm not used to doing that about my own people, my own community members. But I know for me, I was done. You don't get to do that to me. And as much as I wanted to withhold stuff and withhold my truth, as much as I wanted to withhold my truth and hold back from expressing myself or whatnot, I know that the only way that I could fight back is by using truth. And that's something that you'll tell a narcissist from a light worker, because they almost look like a narcissist wants to be a light worker. They will pretend to be very kind. They will pretend to be very nice. They will pretend to be very caring. And then all of a sudden, the mask slowly comes off and you see the person in front of you. That's what a narcissist is. That's truly what a narcissist is. And then the light workers, right? The light workers, they're more constant. That's how you'll know the light workers. But they're very similar. You know what I mean? They want to mimic each other, a light worker and a narcissist. A narcissist wants to be the light worker, right? And as a light worker, when you're surrounded by narcissists, right? you know what I mean? Everything is telling you you don't fit in. You don't fit in. You come from the same place. This is your community, but you don't fit in. That's a hard thing too, because then what happens is that you start taking on a lot of the words, you start taking on a lot of the beliefs that these individuals have about themselves, and these individuals have about themselves, or the things that they say about you, right? You start adopting the shit that they try to attach onto you. Oh, sorry. So for me, I could see, like, I'll just use an example, right, on what I mean. So I was in a relationship with a narcissist, or a narcissist, and prior to meeting him, I was into my community and everything like that, and then I ended, I just kind of, what do you call it? I ended up, oh gosh, meeting this person, right? And he was from my past, and I really wasn't necessarily interested in him right away, because I was on a different journey in my life, but he seemed to be on a different journey as well, right? And like I was attracted to that, the fact that we both come from the same place. We're both from North Central or whatever, and we're both on our healing journeys. And I was certain, what I mean, getting involved in the relationship, that this person had changed, because I thought he was genuine in what he was in everything. But during that relationship, there was a lot of abuse and a lot of trauma, and I'll be straight up about it. Like, I was abusive towards him too. I would call him down, call him names, yell, scream, just I'd do it all. But then I started to realize, after I'd been out of that relationship, because that's not my normal. You know what I mean? I'm not like angry all the time. I'm not I'm not angry all the time. I'm not so, I guess you could say, like, so turned up or whatever. Like, I have a lot of peace in my life. Um but I started to notice, like, in the relationship, how things kind of turned, because in the beginning it was good, and then all of a sudden, it got bad. And it was usually when there was there was stuff that came up for him, like, that he was still struggling with. And and so a lot of time, I was stolen from. A lot of times I was cheated on in that relationship. I was called a lot of bad names. I ended up gaining a lot of weight, and during that time as well, um, I went into it so happy and feeling like I met my person, that, you know what I mean? And he looked like it. He mirrored what I wanted to see, but then the mask came off. I found myself, um, at that time I was already in love or whatever, but I was still dealing with a lot of codependency issues. Um, and and so I ended up losing myself in that relationship. I ended up losing myself in that relationship. And I ended up taking on a lot of shit that wasn't mine. You know what I mean? Like, when he would come back into my life or whatever, right? Like, after not seeing him for like a week or whatever, because he went off and he went and used or drank or whatever he did. I would be concerned. I'd be so heartbroken, right? I would be so heartbroken that I would want him back because that was my codependency or whatever. But but in that relationship, I started to feel like I was everything that he was calling me, that I would be nothing more than, this fat, ugly, blah, blah, blah. And, that I was so mean and I had to be just this horrible person, right? Just this horrible person. And in that relationship, that's how he made me, that's how I was. So I guess you could say as a light worker, I just adopt it. You just take it in, you just absorb it. Um you absorb that stuff. And when you have a lot of people who are dealing with their own stuff, like, right, who don't even realize that they they are, right? Like, when you have people and that's all you see, you can't tell the difference. um I have parents who are have a very a mother who is very narcissistic as well. That's a hard thing to say. And I had to sever that relationship with her, and I knew that it was coming because I couldn't handle the relationship anymore. And I couldn't even identify that. you know I couldn't even identify the fact that, you're not healthy for me. And because I was surrounded by so many of them, and I never really had you know a break from it. Like, it wasn't until I was completely alone over the past, like, especially past couple months, working on my stuff. Like, I'm really alone and I have a lot of time to think, and I have a lot of time to really get to know myself right now. you know Working on my songs, like getting things out. Like, I have a lot of things going through my mind right now. And I've always had a narcissist or been around narcissists. And narcissists want you to believe that you are one too. As a light worker, they really genuinely do. They don't want to see you shine. They're jealous. They'll make you feel like you are the crazy one, that you shouldn't have a voice, that the things that you doing are wrong because of this, and this. You know what I mean? But they don't recognize their own stuff. When you call them out, they refuse to accept it, or they refuse to say they're sorry. They won't say that they're sorry. They'll use things like manipulation, withholding. They will use a lot of different, like, they'll use like a lot of different um tactics, right? They'll even try and sweeten deals. That's what narcissists do, right? So, like, take for example, I was really struggling with my finances, setting up this new business and trying to set up my other business. I was really struggling with my finances. I was really struggling with um support, you know what I mean? Financial support, because I'm a single parent mother, right? And doing this from, taking such a huge, um making such a huge change from working my normal 9 to 5, which it was fine when I was working a 9 to 5, because I wasn't being seen, I wasn't being heard, right? It was fine. Nobody was bothering me then. But as soon as I get on camera, all of a sudden the problems start popping up. There was issues with me. But where were the issues when I was doing the 9 to 5? Where were those things? You know what I mean? That's how I started to really realize there was something going on here. There's something that wasn't that truly was different about me. And that if I wanted to heal from it, I'm going to have to cut and sever all of those relationships that tell me that I'm something that I'm not. I'm a very loving, kind, caring person. I'm a fucking tough bitch, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm a tough bitch, but I love my people. I love my community. I love who I am. You know what I mean? I know that I have a different level of confidence to me because I have so much pride about who I am, where I fit. And narcissists hate that. They truly do. Because they want to be the one behind the screen. They want to be the ones sitting in the chair. They want to be the ones, doing this, doing that, but they're not doing shit to get there, to get themselves there. They're not putting in the work to get themselves to be where they are, where you are. The narcissists are the ones that want to jump from point A to point E. You know what I mean? That's what a narcissist wants to do. And sorry, this is my wand. And it's a toy. It's a toy. This is my wand. So if you ever see me with it, it's because I get nervous and I need something like a fidget. And I decided to use a wand because I lost a lot in my childhood. And this is like one of those little things that, that I love. That, I'm trying to heal this inner child stuff. And I allow myself to have certain things like this. So, narcissists, you know what I mean? Narcissists are very difficult, especially for a light worker. As I said, they want to look like the light workers, right? But they're not the light workers. It's very confusing. It's very toxic because they won't allow themselves to heal genuinely. A narcissist is basically somebody who hasn't genuinely healed from whatever trauma occurred within their childhood. That's as easy as I could put it. That's what a narcissist is. Maybe they were withheld, love, safety, belonging, whatever it is, acceptance, whatever it is. Those they haven't healed that part of themselves yet. They don't know how to be alone. A lot of the times, a narcissist does not know how to be alone. You'll notice that within relationships, right? Like where there's that one quote. I'm not too sure if you guys have ever heard it, but like there's this one quote where it's like, I forget what the heck it's called, but basically it's like the person who's healed, or no, not healed, but the person who, I don't know, was like really in the relationship or whatever, that person will move on quick and another one will stay. I don't know, something like that. Like, or that person will be in a new relationship right away. And that's really true with a narcissist. They are like in a relationship, boom, boom. You know what I mean? And it makes the person, like the light worker, the one who actually was genuine about being in the relationship, they'll make them feel like they're the ones who are crazy, that there's something wrong with them, right? And that's the same thing with light workers too. If you don't know you're a light worker, if you don't know that you are, if you do not know that you are, the only way that you're gonna know is if you have time to be alone with yourself. If you're surrounded by narcissists all the time, like, right, we have a lot, especially if we're dealing with trauma, addictions, abandonment. If you're dealing with anything like that, there could be, you could find yourself surrounded by a lot of people who are genuinely like struggling with their with themselves, right? Struggling with healing. What else about narcissists? Another thing about narcissists, yeah. So I just want to I just want to like express just a little bit more that the one way that you are going to tell if you are a narcissist or if they're if you're dealing with one is truth. A narcissist, no matter what, will not tell the fucking truth. Even though you know the truth, a narcissist will not tell the truth. They will not. Like if they done something and you know that there's the truth there and you know it, you feel it. You know what I mean? They will go to no lengths, or they'll go to all lengths to avoid being honest with you. 100%. That's what a narcissist looks like. And a narcissist will have you believing, even though you know, right? Even though you know the truth, they will have you believing that you are, how do you call it? What do you call it? That you are, they'll have you not believing your intuition. And that's how they break you down. That's how they separate you from yourself, right? That's what a narcissist does. Is that they'll separate and they'll use everything that they possibly can to separate you from being who you are, right? And that's a light worker, being a helper, being genuine, being loving, being compassionate, being authentic. Because another thing too with light workers, to be a light worker, you have to go through some shit. You've probably had to have gone through some shit, or you probably have gone through a lot of shit. That's really what it is. Now I'm talking like bottom of the bottom, like the beneath, like, you know what I mean? Like you've hit those lows, bottomed out, boom, 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 more than once. You know what I mean? That if you're a light worker, you are somebody who always strives to be genuine, authentic, and kind. You are not a light worker if you're using toxic positivity to pretend you're a light worker, which a lot of people do. They use toxic positivity and to pretend that they're light workers when really they haven't really healed those situations within themselves. And I see that a lot of time, a lot. So a light worker, right, like myself, a lot of people go, oh, she's fucking toxic. She swears. She does this, she does that. Or, you know what I mean? Like, she can't be a light worker or you know, a healer because she does she I don't know, like I rap or I swear in my raps, or are you kidding me? You can't be serious. That's how I feel. That's what I feel about it. You genuinely cannot be serious. Because I'll tell you, when you're a light worker, you're doing stuff like what I'm doing. You have the skills to be able to do it all by yourself. You could be a rapper and be a light worker. You could be somebody who doesn't even know that they're a light worker sitting in jail. You could be somebody on the streets who doesn't know that they're a light worker because they're, you know, banging or whatever it is, right? You don't know that because you haven't allowed yourself that time to find out if you are. Right? And usually a light worker is doing the kind of work that I'm doing. You know, they're trying to get the message out there. They're trying to help build people up and doing it in a way that's authentic and real, you know, because it comes from a real place, not because it comes from a phony place where they want to look good on camera, you know. They're starting from the bottom where they come from and come working themselves all the way up. That's what a light worker is. That's truly what a light worker is. Despite the narcissist, despite the toxicity, despite the hate, despite the negativity, they still keep going. And the reason for that is because they're divinely guided, that they're, that they're fulfilling their purpose, whatever purpose that they're here for, they're fulfilling it, And that's truly how I see myself in this situation. A lot of people will say whatever about me, but they don't really know me. They haven't even given me a chance, to be honest. All they see is what they see on Facebook. And they probably see a lot of real posts. You know what I mean? From a real Quay who does not care about how she looks on camera, who does not care how she says this or how she says that. Are you kidding me? Like, for real. Like, I get so pissed off about this because we have people who are judging all the fucking time. But what are you doing? Like, for real, what are you doing? What are you doing for our community? Man, a lot of these people out here, I'll tell you straight up, I got love for, man. I still got love for. I don't care if we've had beef in the past, whatever. I don't give a shit, man. For me, it's like, I just want to see our people succeed in whatever which ways that they want to succeed, And I want to, and I want to succeed too, and do not in a authentic and genuine way, because we don't need more narcissist, unhealed people out there. We don't. We need genuine people out there doing this work, being who they are. You know what I mean? Having the passions that they have, because why? It allows people to be themselves too and say, hey, look at, this person's doing this over here. If she can do it, I could do it too. Which may offer them more healing, right? See, we've had a lot of influence from Western society, especially as Indigenous people. We've had a lot of influence from Western society that has changed how we do things. So much so that we can't even trust our own selves to be genuine, to be authentic. We can't trust our own selves at all and allow ourselves to do that, because what's going to happen? We'll be outcasted, we'll be talked about, gossiped about, lied on. Well, that's already happened to me, so I'm like, oh well, okay, do more of it, because you know what I mean? That's the truth. And things have to change, and it has to start somewhere. Because from what I see, a lot of the systems that we have been using, and no shade, no hate, it works for some people, but it didn't work for me, And those things have to change so that it does work for other people, that they don't feel the way that I feel, or I had felt trying to heal. It's those type of things. So when it comes to a narcissist, basically what a narcissist is just somebody who has unhealed trauma from their childhood, likely from a lack of attention, a lack of maybe neglect. It could be abuse, there's a whole host of things. But even a narcissist can heal. I read a lot of these posts online about, narcissism, blah, blah, blah. Once you're a narcissist, you can never stop being a narcissist. Yes, you fucking can. You can do whatever you want. That's how powerful your mind is. You just have to have the intention to actually heal the things that need to be healed in your life, which are usually rooted in your childhood. Everything is rooted in your childhood. And that's what a narcissist is. And the only way that if you're a light worker, the only way that you are ever going to defeat a narcissist is because they love it when you run. They love to see you weak. They love to see you in pain. They love to see you struggling. They love to see you this and that and that. The only way that you're going to win from a narcissist, the only way that you're going to win because they don't like it, they hate it, is truth. Because a light worker will always, always, always have the truth. That's one thing about a light worker. And that's how you know you are a light worker. Is when you are doing things genuine, you have shit to back it up. You got shit upon shit upon shit to fucking back it up. That's how you know you're a light worker. If you're a narcissist, you're just blowing shit out your ass and you don't got a fucking pot to piss in. And as soon as that light worker pulls out one thing, boom, your whole lies go brrr. That's exactly how you know that you are a light worker. And like I said, you could be a light worker if you are still out there banging, if you are still, in jail, whatever. I don't know if they see these things in jail or whatnot, or if you're still banging, if you're still in jail, if you're still living that life, you could still be a light worker. You know what I mean? You just haven't allowed yourself the time alone to really look inside to see if you are or not. And you might be surrounded by a lot of motherfucking narcissists. You might be surrounded by a lot of narcissists who you're kind of like absorbing this shit from. You know what I mean? And until you actually have that time alone, things will not change. And the thing with this whole, narcissism stuff is a narcissist will deny that they are freaking a narcissist. They will deny they don't want to be called a fucking narcissist. They hate that shit. They don't want to be called out on their bullshit. A narcissist does not want to be called out on their bullshit. And yeah, and so they don't like the truth. They don't like to be called out, and they will try to run and hide and use a lot of different tactics, manipulation, cheating, withholding, just so much, so much shit. Another thing too, what makes it really difficult for narcissists is they're so nice and so kind and so caring in the first little while, like even if you've had a falling out with them before, they'll come back very nice, very kind, very caring. And then all of a sudden, as soon as they get the chance to pull the rug from underneath your freaking feet, they will. That's another thing about a narcissist too, man. Straight up, I've dealt with them a lot, and I honestly got to the point where I almost believed that I was this disingenuous, unkind, uncaring fucking person, because I wanted better for myself, because I wanted, to have things. I wanted to be something, and I almost believed the bullshit. A light worker is authentic in who they are. They're straight up with who they are. And people on the other end, they see that. People who maybe are considering healing or whatnot, they see the bullshit, right? Like they can tell a good worker from a genuine worker from a disingenuine worker. I'll tell you that right now. I've worked in the fields for over 15 years. And that's one thing that I learned, is that if you want to really connect and help people heal, you can't pretend. You can't pretend to be something that you're not. And you got to be authentically you. You got to be authentic, and you got to be genuine with who you are. And that's how I've helped people, when I was out there. I helped people the best way that I could, and that was just being myself, stripping away when I first started this podcast, like I said, I'll go back to what I just said. When I first started this podcast, I was terrified. How will people look at me? How will they judge me? What are they going to say? You know what I mean? And I'm at the point where I don't give a shit what they got to say. Because what are you doing? Why am I taking that into consideration when, what are you doing? You know? That's all I got to say. Anyways. I know this was a little bit of a rough one, but you know what I mean? Like, we're going to be talking about real shit. We're going to be talking about real shit because I know that there's a lot of people who are needing to hear it. There's a lot of people that are tired of the same old bullshit. And I'll tell you right now, the only way you're going to heal is if you are being authentic and genuine. If you are being authentic and genuine, you will heal. Gabor Mate says it all the time. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's a extremely, extremely smart psychologist, doctor. But Gabor Mate says it himself, that the only way that you will achieve true healing is by allowing yourself to be authentic. Authentic. And if you are being disingenuous, you are repressing and suppressing your emotions, your voice. You're doing the same shit that your parents did to you when you were a child, is what's happening. And you're re-traumatizing yourself over and over and over. So until you're ready to be genuine and take off the fucking mask and take off the cloak and be, allow yourself to make mistakes, allow yourself to do those things, only then will you heal. But if you're going to use toxic positivity, try judge people for their healing or whatever, you know what I mean? If you're going to do those things, like, you're not healing. A light worker, somebody like me, when I am highly intuitive, I can tell when somebody is healing, or I could tell just by their energy if they've done real healing or not. And I don't ever say it to anybody because that's their healing. Who am I to judge anybody else's healing? But I've worked with a lot of people, not just like clients or whatever, but I've worked with a lot of people in my history, and there's a lot of people who haven't done their healing that are helping right now. And if we really want to help, we've got to allow and trust that it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to want what we want. It's okay to feel what we feel. It's okay to say what we say. It's okay to just be. If we really want to heal our community, if we really want to heal ourselves, you have to allow yourself to be that all the time. And then you grow, and then you heal, and then you help. Continue helping. But because we're, a lot of us come from different backgrounds, like say, for example, I'm Indigenous. We have to heal and help at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, we got to heal and help at the same time. And that could be very hard, especially when there's a lot of intergenerational trauma. So if you don't get it right, if you make mistakes, oh well. People are going to have to live with it. It's okay, because you know what? At least you're healing. At least you're trying. That's progress too. Whether you're a professional or not, you're still making progress. Anyways, I'm going to leave that here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you guys so much for taking some time, to listen to my message. I really hope that it's helped somebody out there. I hope that it's resonated with somebody out there.